deep for a single 30,000-pound mop to reach. So the solution? Drop multiple bombs into the same shaft.
Secret bunkers, nuclear weapons, precision striking, decoys, 30,000-pound bombs. Operation Midnight Hammer. Let's really see what happened when the US struck the nuclear sites in Iran. I'm Craig, a former British soldier, and if you could, comment below, like, share and subscribe. I would hugely appreciate it. And check out some of our merch and our coffee for the link in the description, combatreadyhq.co.uk. But let's get into this one.
5 bombs like this one in one hole. That's how the US targeted Iran's nuclear facility at Fordow. In total, 14 GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrator or mop bombs were dropped. And this wasn't a last-minute plan. 2 US officers had spent 15 years planning what became Operation Midnight Hammer. The sole aim, to reach and destroy tunnels believed to conceal 1,000 Iranian centrifuges 200 feet down beneath a mountain. 200
feet is insanely deep when it comes to trying to hit them with ordnance, okay? Because that is a lot of crust, earth, concrete, whatever they've built there to penetrate through. So it'd be very interesting to see how they've done this.
That's too deep for a single 30,000-pound mop to reach. So the solution? Drop multiple bombs into the same shaft.
The cap
and that's even more insane. Let's see how they did this. Basically, weapon systems are extremely accurate nowadays. It's insane how accurate they can be when trying to hit a target from hundreds of kilometers or away, insanely accurate, plus or minus 1 meter majority of times now with technology these days. So to get 5 or 6 through the same hole, is insane.
Forcibly removed by the first weapon, and the main shaft was uncovered. Weapons 2, 3, 4, 5 were tasked to enter the main shaft, move down into the complex at greater than 1,000 feet per second, and explode in the mission space. Weapon number 6 was designed on each side, so there were 6 on each side. Weapons number 6 was designed as a flex weapon to allow us to cover if one of the preceding jets or one of the preceding weapons did not work.
That's a huge amount of ordnance to drop into one place. Go and watch a 500-pounder, a 1,000-pounder be dropped when Afghan was going on, and you'll see the explosion and the damage that can do. These are 5 or 6 30,000-pound bombs either side, okay, penetrating 200 meters below ground. So what you've got, you could have point detonating, so as soon as it hits the ground, so Earth's crust, it can basically detonate, or you can set it to delay certain, basically it'd be on a timer, and it basically drives through the ground, so you can get, so I don't know whether you want to hit inside a building, or in this case hit underground. You set it to delay, and then it drives through the ground and then explodes underground. In this case they want to hit the bunkers. 5 or 6 either side of 30,000 pounders would have been an insane, huge explosion. You wouldn't be able to comprehend how big that would have been.
So how did they know what to target? Let's look at the satellite imagery. At Fordow, there were 6 large holes in the mountainside, what US analysts identified as ventilation shaft entrances.
And the work that would have gone into trying to identify them, majority of this would have been done by satellite imagery. They may have tried to get guys in and around the ground to look at distance, but trying to pinpoint this stuff and work this out through satellite imagery takes some skill.
Satellite images also revealed tunnel entrances that were deliberately buried with earth just days before the bombing. And here, an area blanketed in dust, likely the result of a debris cloud from one of the impacts. The US military says the GBU-57 bombs had several targets at Fordow. This image shows 2 groups of impact points on the mountain. 12 mops in total were dropped here. So where did the other 2 bombs go? They were aimed at Natanz, another key uranium enrichment site. Israeli airstrikes had already targeted several surface structures there, but satellite images reveal something else. A large, empty area with one visible crater and possibly a second nearby. Use Google Earth to rewind 20 years and the picture becomes clearer. In 2023 it looks like empty land. But go back to 2003 and you see large buildings that have since been buried.
See, a lot of work and thought has obviously gone into this. That's pretty mental. You do wonder how do they build these nuclear bunkers? So they basically found an open bit of ground away from anything, built the buildings and then buried them, basically put earth on top of them.
The MOP struck directly above those now hidden structures. Back at Fordo, Google Earth tells a similar story. At first glance, there are no obvious buried structures. The tunnels are dug into the mountain. But scroll back in time and you'll see tunnel entrances once led to surface buildings, all of which have been completely buried by 2009. That same year, satellite images show 2 ventilation shafts in the mountain, both of which later disappear.
So I mean, Iran have gone to a lot to try and protect these nuclear sites and hide them as well. But the problem nowadays with technology, this is just from Google Earth. So that's, they're not using any major, huge satellites, telescopes, aircraft of their own. They're just using something that's everyone got access to, Google Earth. And Iran have tried to hide something, but Google Earth has just given it away.
Shafts match exactly where the MOPs hit. And in the days before the B-2 bomber strikes, the Iranians poured concrete caps over the ventilation shafts, perhaps a last-minute attempt to shield what lay beneath. Richard White, BFBS, Forces News.
Pretty clever how they've actually gone about that and gone and done that. Like, to be able to get, like I said, 5 or 6 GBU-57s down the same hole, down the same shaft, while the B-2 stealth bomber is obviously flying around overhead, is just absolutely brilliant how we have these sort of precision targeting now. And it's really good to sort of get an understanding of how they actually done it. But it also shows how well hidden and how deep underground these nuclear sites were. They would have to use 5 or 6 GBU 57s to penetrate through the Earth's crust and then into the bunker. We don't actually know the BDA though, the battle damage assessment still hasn't been released, which would be very interesting to know. Iran aren't going to release too much information. They never do. Have the US stopped them? Have they slowed them down? Or have they actually done any damage at all? We will have to see. Did they manage to get them low enough, deep enough into the ground to actually do any damage? Time will tell. It'd be very interesting to know if it actually did work or not. So thanks for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. Don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you soon.